Hi, folks. Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for joining the live stream today. And I do greatly appreciate everybody showing up. And we will get started with the big news here in a moment. Hopefully, everybody can hear me just fine. As usual, thumbs up if you can hear, thumbs down if you can't, or just yell it in the chat. All right, thumbs up. Everybody can hear. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the big announcement, and then we will recap the announcement throughout the live stream. This is going to be a short live stream. I only have roughly an hour to be able to cram everything in. So again, I do apologize for the shortness, but I do have a busy schedule for this Saturday. So I do appreciate everybody swinging by. But before we get into the questions and answers, I want to take a moment to talk to you, not just as a reviewer and content creator, but also as a person who's been on a journey for a very long time. I started this channel way back in August 14th, 2018. It was DBS Tech Talk at that time. And then a couple years later, we changed it to The Honest Audiophile. At the time that I started it back in 2018, I had no idea where it would go or who would follow me or who would show up, who would subscribe, or what kind of community would form around it. Yet here we are, 7.5 years later, still talking about music, about gear, honesty, and everything else in between. And so I do greatly appreciate it. I want you all to hear this directly from me. This is from me. There will be an announcement made on community posts also, but this is coming directly from me. I'm not stepping away. I'm not burned out, and I'm not losing passion. If anything, I'm more than grateful than ever, and I'm very, very thankful for everything, for how you've supported me, how you challenged me, how you encouraged me, and you've given me a reason to show up for each and every video and live stream. This community has become something that I generally care about, and I really do enjoy every aspect about being a community with you all and being part of the Honest Audiophile family. But unfortunately, life has gotten busy. It's gotten very full for me in a lot of good ways. And there's family, there's church, there's work, there's hobbies, there's new opportunities, and all of that matters deeply to me, and including YouTube, and including my website, including social media, including Discord, including all of that stuff. It's just a very, very busy and very full, and I'm trying to juggle everything. And lately, it has really been sinking in, and I'm starting to realize that I've been rushing. I'm trying to keep up with a pace that isn't sustainable. I'm trying to create without giving myself the space to breathe and to listen and to kind of take a moment to collect thoughts. And unfortunately, that quiet listening time has kind of shrunk and disappeared. And I need that listening time and the time where I sit with music just because I love it. And that's where the honesty in my reviews comes from. And when that time disappears, the work stops feeling true to who I am. And so I need more personal time. I need more listening time. I need that alone, quiet time that I used to have all the time. And now I don't even get that. And so after a lot of reflection, of some prayer, conversations with people closest to me, I've decided it's time to shift into a healthier rhythm for the channel. Not because I'm stepping back, not because I don't want to do it anymore, but because I want to keep doing this for years to come, and I want it to be a success, and I want it to be high quality. So starting next week, the channel is going to move into a more simple, more sustainable schedule. here's how that's going to look. There's going to be one review a week. It's going to alternate between live streams and videos. It's always going to be Saturday at 10 a.m. So Saturday at 10 a.m. there either will be a live stream or there will be a video release. There may be some weeks where it's back-to-back videos or back-to-back live streams. That's going to depend on my personal schedule, but it's either going to be at 10 a.m. on Saturday, a live stream or a video. I will post the schedule updates in community posts, so keep an eye out on YouTube for community posts. Probably will come out sometime during the middle of the week. It's going to advise what's going to be reviewed and you know, whether or not it's going to be a video or if it's going to be a live stream. Also, there will be kind of regular YouTube community posts. Mondays will always be music recommendations, and there may be a couple other smatterings here and there throughout the week. But for the most part, the main things that you're going to get is going to be a Monday community post, probably an update that tells you what's going to be reviewed, or if there's going to be a live stream, if it's going to be, you know, whatever it's going to be. And then there will also be YouTube members that will get at least 24 hours early access to a video. Now, obviously, you can't get access to a live stream. That's impossible to do. But the videos, you will get notified 24 hours early. That way you have a chance to go and watch it ahead of time and, you know, ask some questions and things like that. So I do greatly appreciate all my YouTube members. That's going to be one of the perks that you're going to get as a YouTube member, is guaranteed at least 24 hours early access. So that's something that I haven't been able to do very well with my current schedule as is. All right. Also, the website's going to continue. There will be reviews, topical articles on the website when time allows, or when a product just doesn't really need a full video or live stream. That will be part of the website. So that's going to go out, and there'll be notifications that are sent out as well. Also, follow me on social media, on X and Instagram and things like that. There'll be announcements on there. There'll be content information regarding what's in for review, what's reviewed, things like that. So do follow me there. I do post there randomly. If you're not part of the Discord family, join that. There is some conversation. It's a very laid back, very easygoing type of community there. So follow me over there, and I will interact with you and chat on there when possible. Link down in the description. It is free and open to the public. This new schedule is going to give me room to think, to listen, and to create without feeling rushed. And it's going to give you a more consistent rhythm that you can count on. Just remember, Saturday, 10 a.m. Honest Audiophile. And it'll either be a live stream or a video drop. So what this means for reviews is I'm going to be more selective with my review requests. I'm going to decline more and most offers unless the gear is generally interesting or meaningful. I'd get a lot of offers to review gear, and I do say yes more often than not. And that's because I want to review gear. But unfortunately, sometimes that review list gets massively huge and can become a struggle to get through. And then some things just aren't worth a review, but you feel obligated, things like that. So I'm going to become a little bit more choosy. This does not mean that I'm becoming a positive only reviewer. I refuse to do that. I'm not going to be, this is the best thing ever and everything is good. I'm not going to be that reviewer that my channel's never been that way, and it's not going to be that way. It also doesn't mean that I'm avoiding things outside of my preference. That is not true either. I'm going to review things whether or not it interests me and whether or not it interests the community. If it's something that's requested, if it's something that's been discussed, things like that. I'm not going to avoid things that I'm not using on a regular basis, especially like gaming products or, you know, things like that. Now, one thing that I probably will turn down and repeatedly turn down is Bluetooth True Wireless. That's something that I have no interest in, and that is not part of this channel. So I probably won't be reviewing those. unless something truly is very interesting and incorporates some things that I can use to review that fall in under what the Honest Audiophile channel is about. But for the most part, True Wealth probably will continue to be declined. This also doesn't mean that I'm only going to review safe bets, things that I know for sure are going to be good, things that I know for sure I'm going to enjoy. That's not fair to you all. That's not fair to myself. And that's pigeonholing the channel. And I've refused to do that. I am going to review things that are of interest to the channel and interesting to me, and that I feel are valuable, whether or not it's going to be a positive or a negative review. It's not going to be I'm not going to be reviewing things because I know it's going to be a negative review because I want to have negativity on the channel. That's not how I operate. I'm also not going to do things that are only going to be positive because that's not how I operate either. It's going to be a fair review done through methodologies and processes that have been shared with this channel over the years. So why does this matter? This new schedule is a thing, protects things that matter the most. It protects my family life, it protects my faith and my health, and it also protects my joy in listening. And honestly, that's what this channel is built upon. This isn't a step back, it's a step forward toward longevity. It's toward doing this with clarity, purpose, and integrity. I really feel the need to have a more structured schedule and an ability to have clarity by having moments built into the schedule where I can just relax, take a breath, and get out of reviewer mode and back into just personal enjoyment, have some clarity, but also have purpose for it, and also maintain integrity along it. That's the reason why I have this channel. That's the reason why this channel is built on methods and processes. So with this new rhythm, the next piece of content is going to be next Saturday, March 21st, and it will be a review of the Meze Strada. So I want to say thank you, truly thank you, for watching, for commenting, for supporting, for sticking with me through every season of this channel, or year, every review, all of it, everything that you've stuck with. Your encouragement means more to me than you will ever know. This channel has grown and has become close, and I've made some really good friends in this community. So thank you very much for everything. I'm excited for the new schedule and the next chapter on the YouTube, on the Honest Audiophile. And I think it's going to bring out the best version of the channel. It's going to be calmer, it's going to be clearer, it's going to be more intentional, and it's going to be even more honest than it has been. And if you want a full written announcement, there's going to be a community post that's going to go up at noon today with all the details. But everything's being explained right here and now on the live stream. This is the official one. You are the first ones to know officially, publicly, and within the YouTube family that this channel is changing schedules. And that's the big announcement. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the live stream. And if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, concerns, anything like that, please drop them in the chat. I do greatly appreciate it. All right, so just so that you all know, I do have to leave by 11 a.m. today. So this live stream is going to be ending in 45 minutes. I have a busy schedule today, and I have somewhere that I have to be. I have to leave earlier than normal for this afternoon to get to an activity at our church, and I'm very excited about. So I do have to leave to get to that. So 11 o'clock is the cutoff. So it will be a 1-hour live stream. I took up 15 minutes. So you got 45 minutes to ask questions, comments, concerns, discussions, ideas, thoughts, ramblings, desires, whatever. As long as it's audio or it's about coffee, let's chat. All right, so let's see here. JM, good morning. Good morning to you. You dropped and stepped on your hexes that I use when walking a dog. Oh, that's a bummer. A good replacement in the under $100 mark. I would just go up to the Hexapure. All right, let's see here. Behave says, thanks, Dave. You're very welcome. Thank you for coming by. All right. So Steve says, you need to realize we're all here because we do trust you and your reviews. We know you have integrity. Thank you very much, Steve. Appreciate that. Very kind words. JM, you're very welcome for the explanation. Vegan, Shabbat Shalom, happy Sabbath. Thank you very much. Same to you. Now this would be interesting. Behave says, Dave, you ever think of a Zen trip to Japan, explore the beautiful ambient and electronic music from the amazing people over there? That would be awesome. I have very limited international travel. So I grew up just outside of Buffalo, New York, about 40 minutes or so from Buffalo, about an hour from Niagara Falls. And so as a kid, you weren't required to have passports to go to Canada at that time. You was just go across the border. And so as a kid, my international traveling was going to Niagara Falls, going to Toronto, maybe a little bit further out, doing some traveling there. So I've been to Canada, at least that eastern side of Canada, quite a few times. I can't tell you how many thousands of times I've been to Niagara Falls. Now you're required to have a passport to go across the border. And I do have a passport. So we've taken my wife and I have taken a few trips up to Canada and also to Aruba, but that's about all the international traveling. I would love to go Europe, go Italy, Spain, Japan would be amazing, things like that. Quite pricey, quite expensive, and you have to do a lot of planning, but it would be really, really cool to do. Excellent idea. It has been on my mind. It's just expensive, and very time consuming, but well worth it. All right, let's see here. Begins back in Vietnam. So good evening from you. Yeah, you're like what, 10, 12 hours ahead, somewhere over there. I have some friends that are in Thailand right now. They're like 12 hours ahead. Jam, you're welcome. All right, so Steve says, very welcome, Dave. Deep breaths, crack on. We'll be with you. Thank you very much. I didn't think that anybody would leave. You know, I thought that, you know, I know you all are here for the content, and I do greatly appreciate that. So thank you for the kind words. It is much appreciated. Let's see here. David Cross says, what limits do you have in experiencing alternate, ultra high end and high end audio tech for review in regards to price tags? You mean like the most expensive thing I've reviewed? I know there've been several $1,000 IEMs. And when I say several thousand, I'm talking 3-4 grand. I owned the Audeze L65s, which are $4,500. I've reviewed some very expensive 3 grand, 4 grand DACs and amps. As far as the ultra high stuff, I haven't reviewed any of that, and I really don't have any interest in it. Now, if one gets offered, sure, cool. But that's not really my field. I'm I'm very content in what I review. I don't put a price tag on things. Things could cost $1 billion, and I really wouldn't care that it costs $1 billion. Cool, I reviewed $1 billion product. What matters is how it performs, and you know, if it to me, a price tag doesn't make something sound better or worse. To me, a price tag just means it costs more to listen to it. It's actually about how it performs that matters to me. All right, let's see here. Dragnet, good morning from Red Deer, Alberta, Canada. Alberta, way over on the western side, I do believe. I could be completely wrong, but cool. At Red Deer, do you have a bunch of red deer in there? That's kind of cool. Let's see. JM said his nephew moved to Japan. That's cool. Japan does look like a really, really cool place to visit. Plus, they have some really, really good audio stuff too. Um, okay, so David, David Cross, no, respectfully, the highest performance possible bleeding edge. I'm not following what you're asking for. Highest price thing that I own is Audeze LCD5. All right, so let's see here. Big Sugar. So which Canadian band musical tops your list? Only one, please. Um, Canadian band? Rush is Canadian, right? Yeah, there we go. I'll go Rush. Yeah, let's go with Rush. There we go. That's the first one that came to mind. Um, Vegan, Neil Young. Hey, Neil Young's not a bad idea for Canadian, especially his older stuff. Let's see. Hey, David. David Cross says, "I am really interested in audibly highest performance possible. If you want to hear the highest of high end stuff, go to an audio show. That's where you're going to get introduced to it. As far as reviewing it, to me, it's more about the performance, as I said earlier, and it cost really does not apply. Now, you can get some really cheap components. Granted, you can get some really expensive components. Did It's more about the implementation of those components, and it's also about the abilities of those components, and so that's why I say performance matters the most. Because I could have I'm not saying that my little Honda Civic that I drive around town that has 160,000 miles on it is going to beat a Bugatti. That's not what I'm saying. Different purposes, obviously. But at the same point, you can tweak a Honda Civic, you can tweak a Bugatti, right? It's about the implementation to get it to do what its purpose is. And so that's why performance matters within the scope of what you're looking for it to do. That's how I look at it. If you just want the highest price gear because you think it's going to perform the best, I believe you're looking at it wrong. And I'm saying that respectfully. That's not the reason why you purchase something that's super expensive, is because it's the best and it's going to do the best. Just because it's expensive doesn't mean it's going to do it the best. It may do it differently. All right. Behave. Any new artists you recently discovered that make really well produced music that fits like a glove with the technicalities of IEMs. So there actually was a suggestion. I believe it came from Intuit Reviews. Let me pull this up real quick. So Intuit Reviews actually recommended Amir Breslar. Bresler, I think I'm pronouncing it right. Amir, Amir, and then the last name Bresler, Bresler. And the album that he suggested was called Tide and Time, Tide, Tide, ampersand, Time, Time. Tide and Time by Amir Bresler. It's an amazing, good jazz. It's like a progressive jazz production. I really enjoyed it. Very well recorded. Sounds like very good. So check that one out. Let's see. Oh yeah, I forgot. Trooper and Tesla are both Canadian. Also, Tesla's a really good band. I like Tesla. Trooper is an interesting band as well. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name, but we'll go with RG. All right, so RG says, good evening from Japan. I'm already looking at the tier list to learn about your preferences and evaluations. Thank you. Also, I highly recommend RG that you take a look at the review process and the music preference lists and terms and definitions, and that'll help to explain more of my processes and reasonings and why I hear things. So take a look at all of that. It's very important. And I'm glad that you're trying to learn a little bit more about me. Thank you very much for swinging by. Let's see. Big Sugar, Big Sugar. I can speak this morning. All right, so Big Sugar says, in all of your experience, which products that you've reviewed have demonstrated the best price to performance ratio? The ones that I use as a reference would be how I would respond to that. I think that it's important to look at not just budget. This is under $100, so this has best value, or this is within my budget, so it's value. It's how much did I pay for them? How much did they cost? And what do they do? And do I use them on a regular basis? And are they valuable to me? That's what true value is, in my opinion. And that's the reason why the MyTech Liberty DAC 2 and the MyTech HPA are my reference gear. I believe that they are the best value at the price. And for what I paid, I did buy those, and I use them on a daily basis. That's true value. It's something that I use and I get the money's worth out of. Headphone wise, I bought the Audeze LCD5s. I believe that those are the best headphones that I've ever purchased, and I feel that they're good value for what they offer. Now, can everybody afford them? Obviously, probably not. But I believe that they're the true value. As far as IEMs, same thing with the Westone Mach 60s, the Thea Audio Oracle Mark IIIs, all of those that I use as references, I believe it's because it's a true value is, do I use them regularly as a reference for my sound? Does it fit what I'm looking for in sound? And all of those do. I believe that's what true value is. Please call me RGG. All right, I can do that. David Cross, thank you for your authenticity. You're very welcome. You're going to get it. I'm going to say it as I believe it. It may come out gibberish and rambling, or it may come out cohesive, but I'm authentic and I'm honest. I'm going to speak it how I believe it. All right, let's see here. David Cross, what are your thoughts on an introduction to a relatively affordable set of product technologies that audibly and measurably improve the sonic equality and experience of almost all audio products? All right, so if you're looking for a DAC and amp, we'll go this way. If you're looking for a DAC and amp, and money isn't an issue for you, or you have enough to fit this into your thing. I've already mentioned it, the Mytek Liberty DAC 2 and the Mytek HPA, the THX AAA HPA. I believe that is the best DAC and amp for the money that you can get, and it's going to pretty much beat everything that I've heard. There have been very few things that have come in for review that have said this is better than my Mytek, but they have never been good enough to say you need to purchase this and get rid of your Mytek, if that makes sense. When it comes to headphones, depending on value and price, and headphone IEM, same thing. There's a lot of different options. Starter range. If you want to go, let's go back to DACs and amps real quick. If you want to go a little bit cheaper but still get good value, X Duo XAO2 is another option. If you need an amplifier that's very clean and clear, the SMSL HL150X, excellent headphone that's very amplifier. If you want anything else other than that, let me know, and we'll continue on. Let's move on to a couple more questions here. Jam, the music list is great. I use it on some of my listening sessions. I feel like it helps me understand your explanations of the product. Thank you. I'm glad that you find it that way, Jam. That's the intent of it, is to show you exactly what I was listening to when I was reviewing it. I personally don't mention them. If I do, I mention it very rarely in a review, because I don't like reviews that just mention this song does this, 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 this. To me, that drives me nuts in a review. I prefer to be told how a product performs and how it sounds, and then be given a list that I can go back through and check it, which is why I do the review that way. So every review has the list for my music reference. It's the same list that's at the top of the chat right now. And you can go in and listen to it and go back through and check those songs. Each one of the songs is listed, has a name, has the name of the song, the name of the artist, and then what I'm looking for in the song, and what I listen for in those songs. David Cross, you're very welcome. Openness to discussions is why I'm here, why I do live streams. It's for us to discuss things, whether or not we agree, disagree, learn something here, learn something there, that type of stuff. That's what this community is about, and that's what makes us, we all have the same enjoyment. We all have the same, interests, and we might get there in different ways. We might look at it in different perspectives, but there's no reason to say one is right or one is wrong. It's we're here for the music. We're here to enjoy, and we're here to discuss, what product does this for me, or which one do I recommend here, things like that. I'm not here to tell you that you're wrong or you're right, or things like that. We're here to learn. Very good discussions today. Thank you. All right, so today we're doing something a little different when it comes. Normally I have a coffee cup full for the review, but today I wasn't able to get my coffee made before the live stream. So instead we're drinking V8 Energy. This is the strawberry lemonade. It's interesting. This is not promoted YouTube. This is not a promotion. This is not a review of a product, anything like that. This is just telling my viewers what I'm drinking. All right, so let's see here. Dave Cross says it's refreshing that you are willing to consider alternative points of perspectives on audio products. Yeah, I mean, there's there's no reason to be my way is the only way. I'm not that way. I am not a this is my highway and only my highway. No, I'm going to look around. I'm going to explore other options. I'm going to listen. I'm going to compare it to what I have as a reference. I'm going to use the, you know, I'm going to use the experience that I have and the knowledge that I have to compare. And if something beats what I have, cool. If I can afford it, I'll get it. But truthfully, I'm very content with what I have. It's very competent. It's very good, and it has served me very well for my reviews. It's very consistent. But every now and then something does come around that's better. RGG, cute color. Yeah, pink. I agree. I actually don't have too many things that are pink, truthfully. Blue and orange are my favorite colors, and so that kind of it doesn't always translate to drinks, but I don't tend to really care for drinks that are pink too much. I don't drink a lot of fruity drinks. Let's see here. All right, so in due time, fitting for his question actually, in due time says, how is the IAM collaboration coming along? What can we expect? Also, what is your reference IAM if you can share that? What are they similar to? Okay, so we'll start with what is my reference IAM. My reference IAM is the Westone Mach 60. You also have a couple other IEMs that I use as references. I have the Thea Audio Oracle Mark III, the new Dunu DN242 also has snuck in there. Tantrum Origin, Kiwi Ears Orchestra 2, and the Kiwi Ears Astral are kind of more like the reference IEMs that I'm using currently at this time. Westone Mach 60 is my 100%. This is it. Another one that you could throw in there also is Soft Ears RSV Mark II. All right, so as far as the collaboration goes, so the collaboration is kind of in the works. It's still kind of being worked and tweaked on by Kotori. Kotori has done several prototypes. They've done some local testing in their areas with some other listeners and things like that. It's all being kind of tweaked. I haven't heard one of those prototypes yet, but they do assure me that it's still being worked on. That's all that I got. All right, let's see here. JM, how funny. My favorite colors also. Cool. Hey, see, you got something in common. All right. Let's see. Rybor, what's up, Dave? Hello. I'm running a restored Yamaha M2 amplifier. It's rated at 0.005 THD, 240 WMS, and 127 dB SNR. I think that many amps were built better in the late 70s, early 80s. Yes and no. All right, so I don't have any experience with older AV gear at all. That's not really something a lane that I've ever gone down. Now I've listened to some stuff on there, mostly speakers, mostly floor standers in that regard, but very limited experience. One thing that was a little bit more common back in with those older products, and I could be completely wrong here, but one thing that I've noticed is output impedance was a lot higher, distortion was a lot higher, and there was also a lot more colorization to the sound that was added in. They were just warmer sounding. So is it better or worse? Depends on your preference. Personally, for me, I prefer something that's more neutral and more clean sounding. But again, keep in mind, I haven't heard a lot of that older, more, I guess you would say, vintage stuff. So I mean, things that are from the 70s and 80s are as old as I am. I was born in 1975, so um, 70s and 80s is going way back. And the only experience I have with it is going off of memory from years ago experience. So very limited in that regard. Um, let's see here. Dave Cross, have you experienced the Stax IEM? I have not. The only things that I've experienced from Stax are a couple of their eStat headphones, and also this headphone here, which is my portable headphone. This is my portable Bluetooth headphone that I use while on vacation, and that's the S5. I have not heard any of their IEMs. They look cool. I do have a Stax Energizer. It's really hard to see, but it is down here. SR 400. I've actually never owned any Stax eStats. And currently, right now, the only eStat that I have, I sold my Audeze Carbons, and the only other one, I can't even remember the name of them. Yes, there. Now it came back to me. The Nectar Hive X is the only one that I actually own at this time, and unfortunately, it really doesn't get any playtime. It's just something that I haven't broken out very often. I really don't have anything to compare it to, and it's just kind of one of those headphones that I wish I had a little bit more listening time, and maybe with this new schedule, I'll be able to break it out a little bit more. Ribo, thank you for your input. You're welcome. Big Sugar, what's the next step from the Rock Lobster? Keeping AC/DC as my primary music. I'll play through whatever you recommend. That's a really good question. So I know you like the Rock Lobsters a lot. As far as a bassy, keeping those mids from getting too shouty in the treble. What kind of price range are you looking at there, Big Sugar? Are you wanting to stay in that $100 price point, or are you wanting to jump up further? Whoops, I didn't want to do that. Let me know. Sorry, I'm talking to myself. I just sorted my tier list in the wrong way. All right. David Cross, stacks, e-stats are fantastic. I have several. You have several of the rigs. That's cool. E-stat is something that I've dabbled with very little. I do have a little bit of experience with it. As I said, I had a Carbon, and I have the Hive X, but I haven't really moved too much of that as far as reviews. A couple of them have come in for reviews over the years, but it's not something that has been very common for me. Am I using the Stax Energizer with the Nectar? Yes. Campfire Dorado is excellent for rock music, Vegan says. I haven't heard the Dorado. All right, so under 300. Let's see here. I'm going to just go through my list here real quickly, and we'll sort it and start at the 300s and work our way backwards. One that might be difficult to get. It's going to be right up on the verge of your budget. Is the Binary Acoustics Dyna Quattro. That thing's got some really good bass and definition. Might be just a little bit too sparkly up top though. But Dyna Quattro would definitely be one I would look into. If you want to go planar, the 7 Hertz Timeless 2 has that nice warmth that you're looking for in bass. It does take a little bit to be driven. It doesn't quite have as much sparkly top end as the Dyna Quattro. Let's see. You could go... I don't think the Cadence would be... I think the Cadence will have a little too much top end for you. Let's see. Yeah, I would go with those. The Dyna Quattro and the Timeless 2 would be my first options. Another one to consider, but it may be a little too bright up top, would be the Moondrop Cadence. You could also go with the BG-VP DMA, similar to the Dyna Quattro. That one may be beyond, depending on where you get it from, maybe be over that $300 price point though. It kind of sits right there. If you want something that's a little bit more neutral leaning with a bass shelf, you could go with the Zygot Estrella. But I think that one might have a little bit too much of a thinness for you. That should get you pointed in the right direction. Okay, let's see here. The Stax Energizer. Let me make sure I'm telling you the exact model number. Give me 1 second. SRM 400S. There we go. Very teeny tiny writing, and it's dark down there. So do apologize. I had to duck out of the screen to remember. I don't use it enough to have to remember exactly. But yes, yeah, SRM 400S. All right. Fred, good morning. Dave, good morning. Why do you suppose in the Harrier that the graph didn't really indicate what it does sonically? Because graphs don't tell the whole story. And you can look at a graph and go, here is, it looks like it's walking that neutral line. But the Harrier does have a couple of hiccups in it, in the graph, if you look at it. And so it's really important to understand how drivers impact also what you're going to hear. And and crossovers matter as well. And so there was just a few things that were kind of the issue with the Harrier that kind of all came together and were exacerbated by the the technology not being implemented well. Hopefully that answered it. Fred, you're welcome. Um, Zach, hey there. I want to know your opinion about Mangrid Top Pro compared to the The Audio Hype 4 Mark II. I have not heard the Hype 4 Mark II, so do apologize for that. I like Top Pro though. Um, say in due time. Have you ever reviewed a headphone and didn't like it at first listen until you changed ear pads? I wonder if some bad or okay sounding headphones could be remedied with better pads on Audeze 2C, for example. Well, so I have the Audeze 2C closed, and I like the pads. They do have the originals on there. I had no problem with these pads. Haven't changed pads, but as far as headphones in general, um, and pads, I review things in stock form. I do test alternate pads. Now, if a manufacturer includes various pads, I will try the different ones that they include. Um, just like with IEMs, I do switch tips, to see which ones work the best. And yes, pads and tips both can help to change things a little bit, can alter things. A lot of that has to do with materials. A lot of that has to do with the way that the driver is responding, and also the way that your ear structure is and psychoacoustics are happening. So there's a lot that can happen with that. But the main reason why I don't change pads is because I review things in stock form as much as possible. But you aren't wrong in saying that pads can be part of a solution. I wouldn't say that they are the solution. There are a lot of variables that go into it. What is it paired with source wise? What kind of music are you playing? How are are you getting a good seal? Are you this, things like that. So there's a lot of things that work in conjunction with pads. All right, so Big Sugar, thank you, sir. Last bit, desktop DAC amp under 150. You should be able to get a X Duo XAO2 for that price point. I believe that they are coming in on, if you have access to Oppo's audio, I believe you can get a refurb. Let me check this, make sure this, to be sure. But I believe, get over there. There we go. Currently, right now, the XAO2, they have a Oppo certified, which is just a used one that they verified works, is coming in at 159 on Oppo's audio. Brand new, they're 200. Um, that's kind of my budget recommendation DAC amp is the X-Duo XAO2. You could also, it's not as good in my opinion. I believe the XAO2 is better, especially in the technicalities. You could go with a K11. And right now, Oppos has those in for $143. But honestly, I would get an XAO2 for the extra, basically $20. All right, so you did you you did there. Let's just tell you that I don't know how to pronounce the rest of it. Is there an IEM that sounds similar to the HD6XX? Off the top of my head, not exactly. There's a lot of them that are mid forward, mid centric, like the 650s are. Um, but one that's specifically sounds like that with rolled off bass and the a little bit more excitable treble. I can't think of one exactly. You might want to look at like a Moondrop Cadence. It will be a little bit warmer sounding. Moondrop Kato, maybe something in that vein. Gear like that. Big Sugar, thank you very much. Deeply appreciate all of the experience and expertise that you share with us. You're very welcome, and thank you for your kindness. And you know that I hope that you find it helpful and useful. But thank you for joining. All right, so we have a couple minutes left on the clock. I do have to leave at 11 o'clock. So last call for questions, comments, concerns, desires, thoughts, ideas, recommendations, anything else like that. Fred, do you post on HeadFi? I rarely ever post on HeadFi. I used to post over there a lot more. It just takes a lot of time, and there's just a lot of extra things that have to go on in regards to posting on HeadFi and posting on the other places that I post. So it's just time consuming. But I used to post over there a lot more frequently. But I'm not very active anymore on forums. I'm more active on my own personal Discord. Dave Cross, thank you for the great discussions. You're very welcome. And thank you for joining. Thank you for the questions. And thank you for commenting and keeping the chat moving today. Do greatly appreciate it. All right, so we'll end this live stream with a recap of the big news. And for all of you that came in later, if you're interested in what the big news is, there will be a community post at noon that will also tell you that. But basically, I am changing the scheduling for the channel for various reasons. And the scheduling is going to be one review a week. It's going to alternate between video and live stream. They're always going to be Saturday at 10 a.m. There may be a few weeks where you have back-to-back videos, and there may be a few where we have live streams back-to-back. Website reviews, topical articles, and things like that are going to be up as well. Also, products that don't really deserve a full video or live stream discussion will get a written review. So those will be out. Those won't always be on Saturdays. They'll just be sporadic. I will post scheduled community posts that'll tell you what the next review is and whether or not it's going to be a video or if it's going to be a live stream. If you're a YouTube member or want to be a YouTube member, it's only $3 and you'll get 24-hour access to videos. Obviously, you can't do 24-hour early access to a live stream. This does not mean that I'm only going to be doing positive reviews. This means that I'm going to be a little bit more selective in what I'm reviewing. And I'm going to be just taking a little bit of extra time to do reviews, so I'm not as rushed, so I have a little bit more clarity and a little bit of personal time. I've really lost the personal listening time, and that's how I kind of settle things and kind of reboot the system, so to speak. And so that's kind of bringing that in back into focus, having a more scheduled one review a week type thing. So anyways, there, if you are really interested in what was said in the announcement, very beginning of the live stream, you can watch the recap or wait for the community post at noon. With all that being said, I do appreciate everybody swinging by, and I am going to call it quits for today. So thank you very much. Remember to enjoy the music, and that honesty is the best policy. Thank you for everybody showing up. I'll catch you on the next live stream. And next content will be next Saturday at 10 a.m., and that's going to be the Meze Strada review. Talk to you later. Love you all. Have a good one. And don't forget, enjoy the music. Honesty is best policy. Finger in the screen as normal. See ya.